My name is Peggy LaPointe, and this is Talking Trash, a Green Tips podcast, a chance for me to dive into the world of environmental issues by talking to people in business, government, and nonprofits, folks knee-deep in the field of sustainability. Episode 58 features Nadine Appenbrink and Rebecca Rottman, co-founders of Utility Refill Pop-Up. Portlanders are familiar with the concept of a pop-up. You know, they happen usually around the holidays, and you get them every once in a while. But why don't you guys describe, first of all, what utility is as a pop-up? Because when you say utility, it's not necessarily something that comes to mind, for instance. So tell us what utility is.
Absolutely. We are Utility. We're a low-waste pop-up shop, and we do pop-up events to help people reduce single-use plastics. So we have a variety of refill products in bulk where people can either bring their containers to refill, or we have containers as well. And so people can get their shampoo, their conditioner, things like hand soap, dish soap, laundry soap. We have basically all of the things that you use on a regular basis and are going to need more of. And so we have a really high quality product that's as locally sourced as possible. And we are just trying to help people solve that problem of all that single-use plastic. Yeah. That if you start seeing it, it's kind of everywhere in your house.
It is everywhere. And I like how you say low waste, because we know that zero waste is impossible. Even, the folks who produce, a jar of waste a year, which is incredibly aspirational, it's still impossible. And it's kind of like a journey. And, I try and be low waste and look at ways to eliminate plastics. And lots of people will say, I can't remember the conversation I was having with somebody about exactly the kind of products that you sell, particularly laundry products. And someone said, well, why can't you go to a grocery store and they have all the bulk right there? And it's a great question. But this is one way to solve it. And particularly because you're not in one sort of space, you're around the city, it kind of also, in a way, solves that issue of, I don't want to have to drive across town to go do that. We're all busy in our lives. So first of all, Nadine, I want to talk to you about what each of you bring to the table, because when you look at your backgrounds, you don't go, oh yeah, of course that person would go into retail, right? So Nadine, you're an urban planner.
I am. I'm an urban planner by trade. I've been an urban planner for a dozen years. It's actually what brought me to Portland, that and just wanting to be on the West Coast. And before that, I was in environmental science. I worked in environmental geology in Kansas. And so I think that was one of the things we wanted to talk about. I come from a background of like environmental studies, environmental policy and science, as well as urban planning. And so understanding that mix between the natural environment and the human environment and what that relationship looks like. And so coming at that professionally, but also personally, just being interested in natural products and making, trying to make the right decisions about what kind of projects I use for myself, as well as just what the impact is of the things we buy. Yeah. And so becoming more and more mindful of that, obviously living in Portland. And
Yeah, we talked about as Midwesterners, we talked about the benefits of being in a city where it does make it easier to make these more sustainable choices. I go back to the Midwest once a year, and it can be a little bit befuddling and, kind of getting where I'm going. But Rebecca, you bring a communications aspect to it. You're in communications.
I have done communications professionally. I went to PSU. I came to Portland to go to PSU for public policy. So my background is really in making changes. I did a program in innovative policy. So kind of looking at ways to approach problems in a creative manner that's sort of outside of the box. And I also worked in public health for about 7 years. So in doing that, I worked in an organization that wasn't making changes at a rate that I would have wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really kind of my attempt to do something good for the community, kind of on my own terms and outside of the conventional kind of approach we usually take.
Well, you said something in an interview that caught my attention, and you said one of the reasons you wanted to start Utility is because it was started as a form of activism.
Yeah,
which I loved. Absolutely. You guys talked about being involved in activism. I'm guessing environmental activism, but perhaps other types as well. And so this kind of is a creative way to come out of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
First of all, how did you meet?
We met through a dear friend of ours.
Okay.
At a bachelorette party, I think. And just became fast friends.
Yeah.
I think I knew I wanted to spend a lot of time with her.
Yeah, likewise.
And it's come to pass. So
yeah.
I knew she wanted to spend a lot of time with me.
So you obliged.
She obliged.
Just kidding.
You're so nice, Rebecca. And out of your friendship, obviously Utility came about, but it's not an overnight thing. It's not, oh, hi, you're really cool, let's do something together. But how did Utility come about? I mean, what was the conversation? What was the idea behind it? Because not everyone, I have lots of friends and close friends, and I don't say, hey, let's go do something and start a pop-up. That's a big deal.
Yeah, I think just because of both of our experience with trying to live more sustainable, it's obviously a value for both of us. And Nadine kind of brought the, I hope it's okay to disclose this, but had some allergens, some skin issues. Yeah. So she was really good about, understanding what kind of maybe chemical products didn't work well for her. And I always joke, I say I come from the OCD space of, trying to be as organic as possible, or, trying to research the products that I use and make sure that they don't have chemicals in them. But I think for both of us, as we've talked about, it was really a progression. You start out, and I think this is true of a lot of people who partake in sustainable living, is you do one thing like eating organic, and you start to realize, okay, if I'm careful about what I'm putting into my body, shouldn't I be careful about what I'm putting onto my body? And then from there, it was kind of like, okay, well, I'm using these products that, supposedly are very environmentally friendly and healthful, but they're coming in plastic. So it was kind of that next step. And then we started talking about how we were both on this journey, and it was difficult to find products that we liked using but were in bulk. I think a lot of the co-ops do a great job in New Seasons of providing products, but if you want to take kind of that next step into, more local products or products that are cleaner, then we realized there wasn't a space for that. So that was part of the conversation that got us started.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's always a question that I have for folks, because we all come into this way of life, and that sounds really weird to say, different for different reasons. Mm-hmm. And I think you're absolutely spot on. Nobody dives in and says, okay, I'm going to be the most sustainable person I'm going to be, or I want to be zero waste. It's sort of like, you stop using this and you realize, like what you said, you start looking around at other things. It's you stop
awareness.
Right. You stop getting a disposable coffee cup every day, and you go, okay, well, that's not so bad. What else can I keep doing? And it sort of slowly evolves into just a way of life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't think many of us come from a home where it's where that's how we grew up. Mm-hmm. I grew up with parents who were frugal and needed to, it's the Midwest values, and their grandparents went through the Depression, and you just sort of go, why am I wasting my money on that sort of stuff? I think that's true.
And I want to add, I really appreciate you mentioning earlier the zero waste component. And Nadine, we using low waste, and we use that because we started out with saying zero waste, and then we realized that that's intimidating to a lot of people. And I think it's really interesting, what you just said about you grew up with these, your parents were frugal, et cetera. And I want to point out that, we don't have to live this way with so much waste and buying all this plastic and all the things that we buy. It's a culture thing. And I think, industry right now is really leading culture, but I think we can change that. And that is part of the reason we started this pop-up. It's a small thing, but it's helping people make those changes so that, this isn't going to change industry like we need to do, but hopefully we're going to get more and more people to start realizing that you can refill bottles and you can reduce your waste. It's those habits that we're changing.
And again, I want to jump on what you just said, because I do get frustrated with folks that I talk to sometimes. Their industry has a huge role to play in this, and I believe government does as well. They are not moving as fast as I would wish that to happen, and that doesn't discount the role that I play as an individual and as a parent, setting an example for my kids. And I think, of changes that have happened in the world, in our country, in our state, a lot of it has happened because individuals have, kicked the can down the road and made people wake up. So, I just had a conversation with Elsa and Dana at KINK, and Elsa's, eco challenge to write to Trader Joe's and start a petition to get them to be more mindful of their plastic waste. And, I think we discount the power that we have as individuals in our choices and in our voices. So, I think that's absolutely right. So you guys sort of talked about your desire to have these products available. And that's one thing, but it's a whole nother thing then to start a small business and go, hey, let's try this. So were you thinking all along, let's do a pop-up? Because you're both busy with your careers, and, it's frightful to jump into something into the unknown. So was that the idea all along, was the pop-up?
I think in the beginning, yes.
Yeah.
It was really like, what's a manageable chunk that we could, what's something that we could do, and if we don't love it, we can be done, and we can have had one thing.
Low risk.
And so we were like, okay, let's go as far as the pop-up, and then let's think about how many events can we do, like 3 more. Can we do... And then we ended up doing many more than that. What we found really quickly was that there was this like really big latent desire from Portlanders to not only have a better option, to have an option for reducing waste for household goods, and to be able to talk about it.
Yeah, the community aspect.
The community aspect has been one of the most wonderful, and both our customers and the other small businesses that we get to work with. And that's one of the beautiful things that I really enjoy about what we've been doing, is that we are typically popping up with other small businesses in their space, and we've had such a great run. Yeah. And we have a lot more really cool ones planned, but it's been really fun, and like being able to have those conversations and just talk about, we're very open about the products we carry and why we've chosen them. And we're always curious if people want other things that we don't have. Yeah. And one of the things, I would say the 2 things we get asked about most are toothpaste and shampoo bars. So like a bar of shampoo. And for the 2 of us, we just are still looking for ones that we can say, this one's great. On, so I'm, working through all of the samples of the other toothpaste that I've tried, but it's, yeah.
Yeah. So how did you find these partners, these business partners to go into? Was it connections that you had made through friends, through just inquiries? Because you've been in, all different parts of the city at all different types of businesses. So how did you, start cultivating these relationships?
We've made some cold calls, especially in the beginning. Yeah. I think pretty quickly, though, our network expanded. And we've had, we've been really lucky to have a lot of requests. So a lot of people reach out to us.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So we're keeping an eye on trying to get, like you said, in, like, cover a lot of different neighborhoods and get to different parts of town, so that, because we want to be as convenient as possible. Like, understanding that this is not the most convenient option, but we're still trying to be as convenient as possible. So that's why we do delivery. That's why you can order online for pickup. You can choose to pick up at one of our events. So you can skip the line and just come right and say, hey, give us your name and we'll get you your order right away.
Nice.
So, yeah,
well, and what you said was true, because I had seen your events, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then when you showed up on Southeast Clinton, I was like, okay, I've got to go check this out, because I think that was the day I was out running errands, and it was a Saturday, and I pulled up, and it must have been in the fall. I remember it being sunny. And the funny part, we were talking about this before we started recording. But the funny part was, I got there and there were a bunch of people standing outside, and I'm like, "Is this the right day? Is this the right time?" And then I think it was you, Nadine, who said, "Are you here for the pop-up?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then a lot of people started talking, and then there was some confusion inside, and we couldn't go inside right away. And then you started selling out of the back of your car, which is great.
We did.
We've joked about getting some sort of jacket, where we're like a watch salesman, and open up and have utensils.
Expose yourself to.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was great. I got my lint brush. It was my, dipping my toe into it, got my lint brush. And as I said, I was using it yesterday when I was mending my sweaters.
Oh, it's beautiful. You can't even see it.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Great job.
Yeah, thank you. But it does make it accessible, because you just kind of look and see, well, when they're going to be in my neighborhood, and then I can fill up and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It also, too, I mean, by being in different neighborhoods, it allows us to learn the needs of those communities. We're able to pop around, and we really do want to be accessible. So,
have you noticed a difference then?
Not really. I think we have some other approaches we need to try to reach deeper into other communities, but there have been some differences.
Yeah. And what has been the reaction from folks? Because you started in April of 2019, and so we are nearly a year into it. And what has been the reaction of folks, both to the products that you sell, and then, the inquiries that you get about, hey, have you considered this? I mean, what's surprised you about this year?
I haven't really been surprised about anything. I think one of the reasons we started this was because we were surprised that Portland didn't have a zero waste shop, while so many other cities did. I mean, even some small cities in the U.S. and South Dakota and whatnot have zero waste shops. So for Portland not to, we thought that was strange. And so that is a comment I hear a lot: is, I can't believe Portland didn't have this before.
Right.
And we do get, like Nadine said, a lot of requests for bar products, shampoo bars, conditioner bars. So nothing too surprising. We haven't had anything weird yet.
That's good, I guess. Have you found an area that's been busier, that where people are saying, hey, you need to come back because we need to fill up again, and that sort of thing? I mean, any area in particular that you were just like, holy cow, this is really busy?
No.
I think that's good.
I think we've been trying to. We have a few places that we like to go regularly.
Yeah.
We love Koi & Co. Floral, so we're there monthly.
Where's that?
8th and Burnside on the east side.
Okay.
So the 811 shops.
Yes.
Around back.
Okay.
And
Duly
she's
noted.
Wonderful. We're there pretty much monthly. We've built a really great relationship with her, and really like that space. But I think we're trying to cover a lot of ground, and I think this is on the website already. We have our first outside of Portland event scheduled.
I saw that, Astoria.
We're going to Astoria, and so we're really excited about that. There's a beautiful, sustainable network. There's a really active group in Astoria that's very active, and so we've talked to some of the people there and are really excited about going to Lodestar.
Yeah. Was that a request that you got?
It was.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they were trying to figure out, and we were trying to do something last September and then in November, and the timing just didn't work out to get out there. But
right. How many do you do a month then?
Oh gosh.
It depends. We always tell ourselves we want to limit it to 2 a month,
Right.
and then it ends up, because we have been getting requests. We usually do one once a week on the weekends.
You guys are busy.
So yeah. So April, you'll see us a lot.
Yeah.
Happy to take on more.
Well, you've got the pop-up events, you've got the order online, and you can pick up kind of like a CSA works, and then the local delivery. Are you delivering it yourself, or is this through the
Right
mail?
now we're doing our deliveries ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And for now, that's totally manageable.
Right.
Maybe after this podcast,
Fingers crossed.
but we'll definitely look into other options when when we need to.
Yeah.
So
Did you
everything incrementally?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, was the launch and has it all been, it sounds like from what you're telling me, it's been pretty smooth. Has it really?
Yeah, I would
Wow.
say so. And I think, and I've said this before, is that I feel like there's this myth, and maybe we've just been lucky, but that there's sort of this mystique around small business where it's so hard and you have to have tons of capital, et cetera. But so far, we, knock on wood, we haven't experienced that. I mean, it's not been easy,
Right.
but it's not, I would say if people are, want to start something of their own, don't be afraid.
Yeah. Well, and a pop-up seems to be the right sort of formula for, again, dipping your toe in, meeting people, getting the experience, finding out what the needs are, and sort of going from there. So you're almost a year into the pop-up, and I'm sure you guys have talked about sort of incremental growth and where this wants to go. And I heard one of you talk about classes as well. So tell me about that. I mean, sort of, it's scary to think about quitting your jobs and making it bigger, but sort of how do you want to grow this? You have to be really mindful about it.
Right, and that's the thing, is that we want to grow if there's demand, but also we want to be thoughtful about it in a way that upholds our values of environmental responsibility, localism. So yeah, I mean, I think we want to take an approach that maybe again is unconventional, that doesn't maybe involve shipping and so yeah. So like you said, we'll have to be thoughtful.
Yeah. And classes, make your own DIY classes. Did I hear you guys talk about that?
So we haven't actually scheduled one yet, but we're hoping to do, I make our deodorant in-house.
Oh, do you?
And a face cream and a couple of things. Bex has made a lot of the beeswax wraps.
Nice.
Which are not conducive to a class because you need an oven and it just gets very messy.
I've been thinking about making those, but
make sure to dedicate a whole set of Pyrex to it because
good to know. That might just be something I buy. I make enough and I mend enough. Sometimes I'm okay with just,
We'll sell you some.
Totally.
Yeah, buying.
You know a gal.
I know what car. I just go to the car, buy it out of the back of the trunk.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just so much more fun.
We'll show up on your street corner.
But yeah, the deodorant classes would be great.
I just found a recipe for deodorant that I was going to make.
Yeah,
I did a green tip on it.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, like 4 ingredients, right?
It's not that hard. Yeah.
That's what I want to do. My 17-year-old thought that was weird.
Oh.
So now I have to do it.
Yep.
I like to do things that my 17-year-old thinks are weird.
Yep.
Well, they'll think they're cool.
And you can
someday.
You can lightly scent it with essential oil. Yeah,
right.
you can just make sure it's not too much so you don't burn your skin. But
I don't want to.
You can no. But you can do like really, really fun play with scents too.
All right, I'm gonna have to do that. You talked a little bit about the sourcing of your products. So I just want to run down some of it. You mentioned the shampoo, conditioners, the soaps. Where are you getting them from? Where have you found? And you, it sounds like you guys use them yourself to see how they work. And so you can then speak to that, which is huge.
And so we have several brands for the bulk. We have for the like the body care, the shampoo and the body lotion and body wash. Those all come out of Vancouver, BC. It's a company in British Columbia, Canada, and it's called Carina Organics, and we really love their products. They're all organic. They're all vegan. They don't have any of the things you don't want in there. They're all biodegradable, so if you take them camping, you don't have to worry about them actually washing into the stream that's you're camping right next to. And that's local-ish, but we're hoping to get more local in the future. But
hyper local-ish.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the other, we have two other brands. So we have BioClean, which is a lot of people don't know is local.
Right,
They're
I love
out
BioClean.
of Vancouver, Washington.
Yep.
They have just recently been purchased by a very large company, which I'm not remembering the name, but remains to be seen whether their operations will stay in the Pacific Northwest or not, and what kind of transition they will go through. We did stock up, so we have quite a bit. So we're going to stick with them as long as we have the stuff, and then just see what happens after that. The third brand is called Wash with Clean Slate, and she is an Oregon City-based maker. She makes all of our laundry products. So the laundry powder has been really, really popular because it really works.
Nice.
It only takes a scoop, like a tablespoon.
That's nothing.
Which is not much.
No.
And it just cleans your clothes, but it also cleans the machine, and it especially works well with low waste or like low water machines, so that there's not too much. Like with conventional stuff, if you're using a lot, the water doesn't wash everything out, and so it's not good on your clothes.
Yeah.
And it can gunk it up. Yeah. So we love her too.
I want to ask you about, because I'm always looking for ways to reduce my plastic. And so you've got I'm trying to look for it right now, the dish soap bar.
Yes.
How does that work?
So it takes a little thought.
Yeah.
But basically it's a bar of soap that you can put next to your sink.
Yeah.
We either have like a little soap cushion, it's like a loofah cushion that helps it drain. And you just take your sponge or your brush, wet it, and scrub it onto the soap. It lathers immediately, and then you can wash your dishes from there.
Because we don't have a dishwasher,
right?
So I hand wash.
Me either.
But with a washcloth. It would work with a washcloth, right?
It would work with a washcloth.
All
yeah,
right.
it's not ideal if you're going to fill the sink with water and do a whole load.
Oh,
it's not ideal for that. That we would say the liquid.
Okay.
But if you're doing dish by dish, the bar is great.
I'll stick with the liquid.
So we have liquid too.
All right.
But the bar is fun, and it's also been it's a big seller.
Yeah, that's one thing that has piqued my interest as far as using, and I've tried conditioner bars, and I haven't found one yet. That one's a hard one. And I don't shampoo my hair like every other week.
Nice.
So that is not a big deal. But I have talked my family into using a shampoo bar.
Oh.
So I'm pretty happy about that. It's the baby steps.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've got the website, and you've got Lodestar coming up towards the end of March, because this will be in the beginning of March. What's your summer looking like? I mean, have you started planning that out? Because we're almost into spring now. How far in advance do you schedule these?
It depends. I mean, it really just depends. It depends on whether or not people have reached out to us. We will be doing the Portland Flea, which is on the last Sunday of the month, starting in March.
And that's in Southeast Portland, right?
Okay. Yes.
Yep. It's right off MLK.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really fun event. Lots of vendors, food.
I keep meaning to go there.
It's fun. It's cool.
You should come.
Yeah.
I know. I get off of work at noon, and I'm usually so tired that I just want to go home and veg. But
understandable.
I definitely want to come by.
Yeah.
You've got a couple of other events coming up this spring. We were talking about it a little bit before we started recording, and there are a couple of cleanups. Or there's one cleanup
and a tree planting.
So tell me about those and how people can get involved.
So on April 19th, that's a Sunday, and that's the week prior to Earth Day, we will be doing a pickup, and we're trying to get a pickup of litter, and we are trying to get other businesses that we've worked with involved to then, reach out to their networks, because we'd love to have as many people as possible, because there's a lot of litter out there.
There's a lot of litter out there.
So yeah, and we're thinking 10:30 to 12:30, and we're partnering with Solve, who provides like pickup sticks and gloves and bags. Yeah, they're a great organization if you're not familiar with Solve. So yeah, and I think that that's something that we hope to continue. And we also say that if people are not able to make the litter pickup, then you can pick up 10 pieces of trash on your own and throw them away. I'm weird. I love picking up litter. It's therapeutic for me. So
it is therapeutic, though, because we've done a litter pickup the last couple of years in Southeast Portland.
Cool.
And it's therapeutic. If you get done with a couple of hours and first of all, you get disgusted with human beings. And then you just feel like you've done something.
Right.
It's very rewarding.
Right.
What was the idea behind that? Just, again, activism?
Yeah. I do it on my own already.
Well, we know that.
She's passionate.
I just want to say again.
So if you see someone picking up,
it's probably me.
No. We're talking about getting uniforms.
Thank you, Rebecca.
I think so when I've picked up litter, I always get thank yous from neighbors walking by, and most recently I had a woman give me a bottle of hand sanitizer, which was very sweet.
Very sweet.
And she just said, thank you for helping the earth. And like you said, it's rewarding. And so it's something that we can all do. You can walk outside your door and pick up trash. So I think that because of that, it's a good thing for people to do. I think you become aware of it once you see how much there is. I had a friend who came with me one time, and she never picked up trash. And by the end, she had this huge bag, and she said she could not believe how much we got in such a short period of time. And, I was glad that she was carrying the bag because she could feel the weight of all this stuff. And so, I think it's just a really great way to raise awareness about litter.
Absolutely eye-opening. Then the tree planting, that is in March.
That's in March. So that's going to be, I think it's March 14th. It's a Saturday. And so we are, in the past, I've volunteered with Friends of Trees as a crew leader and haven't been doing it in a while. And I think we're just hoping to leverage all of the people we've come into contact with and be able to do something that's not necessarily a sales event, but that's, getting together and doing things that benefit the planet and that benefit our community.
Yeah. It's just...
And it's
another
fun.
way to
Both
grow
of
the
those
community.
are fun things.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you... I know the area for the litter pickup hasn't been set yet. You're looking at some areas. Has the area for Friends of Trees, the tree planting, been set?
Yes, I think that weekend.
Because they do go out, because I spoke with a gentleman from Friends of Trees a few weeks back, and they do have that planned months in advance of where they're going to be.
They do, and they actually have, what I've subscribed to is their Google Calendar.
Yeah.
So it is Arbor Lodge, Kenton, Overlook, and Portsmouth.
Nice.
So it's a nice big area. So we'll be up in North Portland.
Perfect.
Doing trees.
So
if you haven't done that before, it's actually really, really fun.
They've gone through my neighborhood, and I think I saw the crew that was on bikes, and everyone's having fun. I have not done that yet. I've done the litter pickup, but anytime I volunteer, you just feel good.
Right.
You really do.
Yeah. I was going to say, so if you're interested in doing the litter pickup, then continue to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and then on our website we'll have it posted. The idea is that when we have organizations that want to partner with us, then hopefully they will pick up around their neck of the woods, again, kind of making it convenient so there's different places that people can pick up. So more to be shared about that.
Yeah, and I was just about to ask you how people can find out about this. You do have a calendar on your website. Where can they find you on Instagram? Is it just Utility?
It's Utility Zero Waste.
Zero Waste. And I do follow you on Facebook. So I'll just have to follow you on Instagram as well.
We're a little less active on Facebook, but there is a fantastic Facebook group, Portland Zero Waste.
I'm on there.
Which is awesome.
Yes.
So we do love that group.
Yes. And you guys were just called out yesterday. Chloe Lepeltier, who I've spoken to on this podcast as well, is she's
a gem. She's a connector. She's fantastic.
Yes, she is. The Zero Waste group, again, don't let the name intimidate you. And I think you're right, Rebecca. It's even intimidating for me as someone who looks at different ways to reduce waste and lives a lifestyle that is try to be sustainable. The zero waste phrase can be intimidating, and I think once you wrap your head around, we're all on a journey. It makes it a little bit better. So it makes it a little bit easier to grasp.
What we're hoping to do is be as approachable as possible. We want to be. We're a judgment-free zone.
Exactly,
and we're not living zero waste lives because that's not really a reality in the culture and the country we live in. But we do want to be sort of maybe an on-ramp to thinking about that kind of thing, and to, as we said, making it a little easier to consider your choices.
Yeah. So making it approachable, definitely.
Yeah, and if anybody is interested in coming to a pop-up just to chat with us, we welcome that, of course, and ask questions. You don't, have to purchase products. I mean, we encourage that, but don't feel like you can't come and ask questions and check things out and just kind of see how it all works.
So then that just brought up another question, because while I've been to a pop-up of yours, it wasn't a traditional pop-up.
You were at we weren't quite set up yet.
Right. So describe what the pop-up is. I mean, you're in they're mostly retail spaces, right? So when people come in, what can they expect?
So we don't necessarily bring all of our products. It depends on the size of the space.
Right.
But we always have our shampoo, body lotion. We have dish soap, kind of the staples that you can refill on. And then some of our non-plastic home utensils like lint brushes, bamboo toothbrushes, soaps, etc. So, I think if you want to get more of our products, then I would order online and either do a pickup or delivery. But the pop-up is just you bring your containers. We have free ones that people have donated that we've sanitized for reuse in case someone just happens to pop in. So again, we just really try to make it easy for people. And you can, again, ask questions.
And you can bring any container you want.
I always say
recommend
you can
clean and dry.
Yes.
Always important.
That would be very
pretty
important.
much any container. Yeah.
And if somebody is thinking about going to a pop-up and they want a particular item, they could probably reach out to you and
Message
say,
us.
Yes.
hey, I'm looking for this. Will you have it?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And they can email you, or, it was easy to get a hold of you guys.
Instagram direct message is also, we're on that.
And
frequently.
they can talk to you about any questions you have. Okay, perfect. And so I will keep following you and see what you've got going up next. But I definitely recommend following and checking it out, because again, mine wasn't a traditional one, but I will get to a more traditional one. And it was funny.
That was funny. It was
because you guys are just like, whatever, and you made the best of it, and everyone else who was there is like, okay, let's do this. Because it's
we were delayed 30 minutes.
Right.
So
not a big deal. All right, Nadine and Rebecca, thank you for joining me.
Thank you
Thanks
much.
so much, Peggy.
Thank you for joining me for my conversation with Nadine Appenbrink and Rebecca Rottman, co-founders of Utility Refill Pop-Up. If you've missed any of the previous podcasts, you can find them at our website at KINK.FM. Be sure to like and subscribe to Talking Trash, a Green Tips podcast, on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you're listening. Talking Trash is a podcast series featuring people in business, government, and nonprofits, and sometimes just regular folks in the Portland area and around Oregon who are having an impact in the world of sustainability.